Hello, everyone. I wanted to share my perspective on the Heresy speakers. I just found these speakers so fascinating, and a lot of people talk about using them with a subwoofer, and I want to share my experiences using them with a subwoofer. And I think what I like about these, they just have a very lifelike, live sound to them. And I've listened to other speakers I've tried, like the ELAC and the B&Ws, and those are nice speakers. They just don't sound as lifelike. They're not as exciting, fun to listen to, and almost kind of boring. So these are a lot of fun. I'm listening to jazz, Miles Davis, Bill Evans. I love Bill Evans. I'm listening to classical, listening to Dexter Gordon, listening to a lot of jazz. I got a lot of jazz LPs. I got some Hans Zimmer. So I would say, when you're listening to soundtracks like Superman here or something, Man of Steel, Hans Zimmer is known for playing really low notes and music. And in the Heresy, you hear it, you just don't feel it. And I think that's the part that some audiophiles discriminate the Heresy. And I would say it's true that they don't have that low end extension that you would get like you would with a sub. But not every song you play needs a sub, and that's one of the things I think is an issue. But more importantly, I got to tell you a little bit about this sub. This is a Polk Audio sub, which I have a little cover over it. It's only an 8-inch sub. I tried it front firing and down firing. It just sounds better down firing, as oddly as that might seem. I played it front and immediately didn't like it. So it stays in the down position. But I don't use it that much anymore, and I do not have it currently connected to the system here. And the main reason is this. That's one of the reasons. There's too many widgets and crap is what I call it. I just don't like bells and whistles. I get too many settings, and I just find myself sitting here trying to find the right setting, and it's just a total disconnect when you're trying to listen to something and then you play a different song or genre, and it's like, I gotta adjust something here, and I just can't stand it. And I find myself plugging these buttons, and I don't get all this stuff. I don't know why people get entertained by all this crap, The other problem is there's no outputs. There's no sub outputs. And I was watching that PS Audio video where he talks about how it's better not to have a sub output. But I'd rather have a sub output, because what's happening in my scenario, and he says this is ideal in his video, is you run the output, cables RCA output from the preamp into the input of the subwoofer, and then the output of the subwoofer to the left and right inputs of the amplifier. So now you're running all the sound from your tubes through this device and then through a cable, and hopefully the reproduction is sincere, when it comes out. I don't notice it's so much big difference with this tube amp, but when you go to this one, huge difference. This thing does not like playing through a sub. It's only 2 watts a channel. It sounds gorgeous. This is an SE84 Deckware. It's a UFO. And it's a beautiful little amp. And it just sounds so sweet and pure when you play it through the Heresy. Just this beautiful, warm, rich sound. It's gorgeous. And as soon as you hook it up through the sub, you play, do the output of the preamp to the sub, and then the sub to the Deckware. It just totally deadens the sound. It's like it's powerless, And I don't know what it is, and I don't care. It just doesn't sound the same. I just don't like subwoofers. I don't find myself enjoying fussing with them. It's like a disconnect. I wish the driver was incorporated into the speaker where it produced all the bass. But tone control has saved me. And I don't like any preamp that doesn't have tone control. And, purists scoff at them. I could care less. I don't care about that. All I care about is how it sounds. And I find that when I just adjust the bass here, that helps compensate for some of the bass loss that's that's lacking in the Heresy. You know, I'm just experimenting with new tone control here so I can see them easier. You can't see the position of these. That's the reason I'm getting these black ones installed, so I can see where they're positioned at, so I can make quick alteration of a certain song if I might want to add a little bit of bass. But I don't know, I think purists get too hung over this whole purist mentality audiophile thing. And you know, I get it, if you're spending 20, 30 grand on a system, certainly you don't want to alter the sound of it. But you know, what are you going to do? You're going to spend thousands of dollars to alter the sound, whereas you could just turn a knob and that would help, you know, add a little bit to it. So that's kind of my take on it. But overall, I just don't like the sub. It's a disconnect. It sounds separate from even though it's a low frequency. Running this whole thing, cables through here, I wish I had a sub output on my amplifier so that I would just run direct from the preamp to the amplifier instead of having to run it all through this and then, you know, into the system. So that's my take on it. Get tone control. Don't worry about it. Just spice up the bass a little bit. You know, it's no big deal. There you have it.